Okay, I'm hoping this works. I've got a couple of quick little tips that I thought of while I was stitching this, so let me go through those real quick. One is remember to always untwist your thread as you're stitching, and you may have to do it quite often, possibly every couple of Kloster blocks. And all I do is I lift up my material and I let it spin, and then I carry on stitching. And a couple more, lift up your material, let your thread spin. So don't forget that. Using the Caron Watercolours, I've now finished using one whole skein and I'm on to my second skein. So anybody who's using the Caron Watercolours, like I am, I think 2 skeins will probably do it. We may possibly need a little bit of the third skein just for the buttonhole stitches. The buttonhole stitches do eat up a lot of thread. So I think we're good with 3. I think we're very good with 3. We may squeak by on 2, but we'll find out. What else? Oh, I have made this mistake a few times in my Hardanger career, so I'm just going to remind you, when you pick up your stitching and you haven't stitched on it in a while, make sure you're on the front of the work. I've done it where I've picked it up and I'm stitching happily away, and all of a sudden I realize I'm actually stitching on the back of the work. And I have to take all my stitches out and restart again. So a little reminder. And where else? Make sure on front, untwist your thread, use one skein. Oh, a quick note as I'm stitching this, I noticed, and I thought I should point this out, and I'm hoping you can see. When we get to our guidelines, you'll note that we have exactly 4 threads between the middle 2, and that we match up on our guidelines, and then I know I'm in the right spot. So pay attention to your guidelines. They will help you, and you'll know that if you've got everything done correctly, you will meet up when you do the whole surround. And I think that's it. Enjoy this lesson, and we'll see you at the other end. Bye. Hello, welcome back to my Hardanger Stitch Along. It's Nina with Stitching with a Smile, and we're going to carry on today with all the Kloster blocks around the perimeter of this piece. So we finished all the satin stitching inside here, and we will come back later and we will do the cable stitching and the eyelets. That's done with the finer thread, which in this case I'm using a number 8 Pearl Cotton. So let's get up to here. Again, this is 1/4 of your fabric, and we're going to be starting on this Kloster block. We're going to be going down here, carrying along, and then it'll mirror image itself on each corner to come up here and down again. Once we get this completed, then we'll carry on with this. Now the reason I've done it this way, there's no hard and fast rule. However, because this area is going to be cut, I did this as a continuous line, and this will be done separately rather than go out and do this. So we're going to do the inner like this, and then carry on these separately. Okay, so I've drawn this out so you can see the, well, almost the full pattern. Actually, I can't even get it in screen. Again, you'll be carrying all the way around like that. So I've done my drawings where one line of the graph is a fabric thread, and each hole is a hole in your fabric. These blocks down here are the ones that are finished. Let me pull out the main pattern again. So this part here, or here, well actually I think I just drew it from here, is what is shown down here. And then what we have up here is what we will be stitching. So to count from this hole over these threads up to this hole is 20 threads. And maybe we should do a quick count just so you can see how it's done. So we're going to start here, and it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. But we're actually going to bring our needle up here, so it's 2, 4, so it's 24 in total. There's 20 threads here, plus the 4 threads that are inside here. So you'll count up 24. On this, of course, each line is a fabric thread, so each one is counted, 1, 2, 3, etc. And that equals 20, 21, 2, 3, and 24 along here. Once again, it'll be very similar to how we did other, well, similar, almost exact, it'll be exactly the same as we did the other Kloster blocks. You'll come up over 4 fabric threads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. Then come up over 4 and down, etc. Remember, this shares a hole. You'll come up here, go down, up, down, all the way to here, come up, go down, and do not travel your thread here, come up here and down, etc. And it'll be exactly the same all the way. Now for the number that we do, I'll bring this back. We will do 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in the diagonal. And in the long, you'll be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 5 along here and 16 here. So when you, I'm sorry, there's 10 along here and 16 here. So when you count these 10, this 10th one becomes number 1. Count your 16. Number 6, am I still in frame? Number 16 becomes number 1, and count 10, etc. So we'll get started. Now for this, because there is cutting involved and it's a separate entity in a sense, I've done a waist knot out of the way and way up here. I've counted all my threads, and I'm going to start stitching. So let me bring it back here. What I've done, and I'm hoping you're able to see this, is I've counted, there's 20 up to here plus the 4, and that's where I come up. So that's 24 threads. Bring this back, and I'll come up right here and start stitching these Kloster blocks. So I'll get started with you. So I'm going to come back out this same hole to do my turn, and into here and carry on. Okay, I'll meet you back. I'll do this, and then I'll meet you back to do this again. This portion will be exactly the same as this portion, but I'll go over it with you again. I'll be right back. Okay, let me just turn this so that at least you're oriented correctly. It's a great thing about being a square is you can see exactly where you are just by turning. Okay, we have 16 Kloster blocks here. I've stitched 15 and I'm on the number 16 of the Kloster blocks. So this one will now go straight down. And for our straight, let me find my pattern here. Okay, so we're coming up here. Again, I'll turn this. So we're coming up, and now we're going to do the straight along. So I've come up here and go down. I've come up and down, all the way at the end, up and down. And then at the back of your work, your thread will go diagonally to the top again. So you'll always be at the top, or in my case, the way I stitch, it'll be on the left. And the same thing. Don't forget, don't come across like this, come across like this. And that will help to hold the threads for when you do your cutting inside. I'll do a little bit with you again. I did have to stop and start a thread. I won't go through that again with you because it's the same as I've shown before. And I have my needle parked and out of the way, and the new thread is in. So the new thread I threaded behind these stitches at the back and carried on. When I've stitched some along here, I will take my old thread and weave it into the back. Okay, so let's go forward a little bit here. So this is the starting of my Kloster block. Okay. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be the fifth one that I'll sink the needle in here. Then I'm going to come back up, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to come back up in this hole. Let me make it nice and big. I'll sink my needle here and I'll come up there, and my thread at the back of my work travels diagonally up. So I'm always, because I'm right-handed, I'm stitching with my right hand, I'll come up on the left and go down into the right. And I do 5 more stitches. And we'll do the same again. So that's that portion. When you come back up around this way, you'll just come up here and meet up with that. You'll do 10 of these blocks, and then you're going to start the diagonal again. And I will get the surround done and then meet up with you again to do these. Let me pull out my pattern here. So I'll do the whole surround and I'll meet up with you again to do this portion. See you in a minute. Okay, so I have stitched all the way around. As you can see, it's now getting too big for the camera frame. And I have a lot of thread when I'm finishing up this last Kloster block. This is where we started. Right here is where we started and went down here, and this is the last Kloster block that meets up to it. But I have a lot of thread, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll sink my needle on this last stitch into the back. I'll go through the back of this one behind my work and come out to do this section down here. So let me show you on the pattern. This is where I started, and this is where I'm ending. The new one is going to start here. So I'm going to sink the needle, and at the back of my work go through this Kloster block, and then I'm going to come up here and start doing this row or diagonal of Kloster blocks. I hope that makes sense. I'll do this, I'll get it started very quickly with you. If you don't have a lot of thread left over, then just weave your thread through the back of these stitches, come out and start. But because I've got lots left, I'm going to do it this way. So let me sit down so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to sink my needle to the back, finish that Kloster block, turn my work, go through the back here, and then come out. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe right here. Yep. And I'm going to do the diagonal down here. Now it will be, and do I have, here it is. So this is where I'm starting, and then of course each time you turn you'll start at the same spot up here, etc. So where have I got it circled? So I'm going to be starting here, and the same as before. Oops, sorry. These are already done. That's where I put my needle through, or if you're anchoring your thread, put it through back there. Come up at the dot and go down. Now, do remember that you're sharing a hole here, so when you come down, you're going to come down in the same hole where this Kloster block is already. Through here, and again, share the hole here. So don't forget that you're doing that on each one. So I'll get it started with you. Okay, so this Kloster block is already done. I'm going to go in the same hole where that thread is, and I'm going to carry on exactly like we did before. Okay, so carry on. Let me find my work here again. So you'll do the whole surround, and you'll do all the extras on the 4 corners as well. And then next week, we're going to get the buttonhole stitches done all the way around, and that will be the finishing of all the satin stitches with the larger thread, either a number 5 Pearl Cotton or Caron Watercolours, which is what I'm using. Then we can switch to our finer thread and do some of the details. Okay, well, thank you very much once again, and have fun. I'm enjoying watching everyone's progress. Please keep it up, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.